Last week on the Bitcoin Tarot podcast, Cosmic Conroy's Tarot suggested a collapse will upset our balance and prudence, benefiting the man. Meanwhile, Charting Chad's analysis suggested a drop to below 6k, still coming soon. Then, the price of Bitcoin wobbled insanely, rose by 7%, dropped back down, and then rose again, ending the week about 3% up. Chad and Conroy both get a failing grade E, so their GPAs are now 2.2 and 2.9, the Tarot further closing the gap. But what will happen to the price this week? Are we doomed to roam the 6,000s forever? Presenting our first contestant reading the cards, it's Cosmic Conroy!
You are very welcome. I guess the collapse in the price of Bitcoin last week wasn't as bad as the card implies. It wasn't even as bad as the rise in Bitcoin last week, and thus we did quite well. Will that continue? Let's find out with our reading. We're going to do our usual 4-card reading with cards for the past, the present, the future, and a meta card to give us a reason for the timeline. So let's begin with our first card. And that card is the 6 of Cups. Pleasure. It's the first time this card has come up on the Bitcoin Tarot podcast, but its meaning's pretty clear. The price has gone up by 3%, and I have found that very pleasurable. I'm sure you did too. So let's find out what's happening right now with our present card. Right now, what's happening is the 9th trump card, the Hermit. Now, it sounds like that means it must be a moment for contemplation and for pausing and for meditation, because that's what the Hermit does, of course, hiding there in his cave, thinking. What's going to happen in the next week? That's the main question. And that's going to be the 10 of Cups, Satiety. It means satisfaction and harmony and the stars aligning to bring safety. This can surely only be good for Bitcoin, but what is it that causes this timeline? Let's find out with our meta card. And that's the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is strong-willed and she's a logical thinker. She's objective and she's wise. And so, I think the meaning of the reading has become clear. Bitcoin is objectively and logically valuable, so its price has been rising, bringing us pleasure. And once it's paused for a moment of introspection, it will surely rise and bring us satisfaction. So after a pause for logical introspection, the price will surely rise. That's it from me, so until next week, may the Bitcoin bless you.
And now, representing the technical analysis crew, it's Charting Chad!
Alright everyone, it's been 2 weeks I've been saying we're going down, and still no sign of the drop that we're expecting yet. What's happened? What's going to happen? Let's have a look. Here we start off here with the weekly candles. The 200-day moving average is above the 128-day moving average, which is above the 50-day moving average, which is above the price, and the price is red, indicating we're in the middle of a down week. So all of that, very bearish, things don't look good. Adding a bit more markup there, we've got this descending triangle, which is not good. They tend to break downwards most of the time. We've also got this descending wedge, which is also not good, because we've still got so far to go before we're expected to break out of it. But we are not at the bottom of that triangle, and there is a bit of room, leeway to go up or down before we break out of the descending triangle. So let's look more closely at that descending triangle in the hourly chart, the daily chart. The daily chart here, we can see a beautiful example of the descending triangle form, but we're quite near the middle of the bottom right hand corner. If we add a bit more markup onto that, we can see we're also at the bottom here of a symmetric triangle. Now a symmetric triangle, that's a continuation pattern, so that also indicates we should be going down. All of this added together means down, down, down for Bitcoin. But if we look at the hourly candles, we can see we are in the middle of an uptick with quite a bit of room still to go before we reach the top of that first triangle, and indeed a little bit more room to go then before the top of the next triangle. So, it's tricky. We are expecting it to go down, but perhaps not quite yet. So we're probably going to go up this week, but only temporarily. That's it from me. Keep your stop losses tight and I'll see you next week.
The Bitcoin Tarot podcast needs your support to fund a longer format show. If you want more detail and perhaps some altcoins to be examined, send donations to any of these 4 addresses. Whichever coins have the most money when we hit the target will get a special side reading from both Chad and from Conroy. Remember, if you can't donate, you can always like and upvote and share our links to while away the hours until we once again ask the question: can the tarot beat technical analysis in next week's Bitcoin Tarot podcast?